Hello and welcome back to KPVM-TV's Young at Heart. Today our first guest is Rick Marshall, the Assistant Sheriff for the Administrative Services Bureau.
Correct.
I got that all out.
You got that all out, Shane. I'm doing good, thank you.
Today we're going to talk a little bit about driving safety, right?
Yes.
And a couple of cool gadgets, one of which we actually have here in the studio with us to show. But first, before I go into the questions, I have a sheet here to read. It's about disaster prep tips, pre-preparation tips for older Americans, and this is the source is from ready.gov. And this kind of goes in along the lines of what we're going to be speaking about today, and that's driving safety. First of all, before you take off on a trip, find out about the risks in the area in which you live. Make sure that you have a personal support network, just in case you do break down and you need help. Prepare an emergency kit. It's very, very hot out here in the desert. Summertime, you need extra water, food, things like that, just in case your car breaks down between here and the middle of Las Vegas. And, of course, this doesn't actually have to go with the driving tips, but it's just a good tip in general, and that's sign up to receive your Social Security payments electronically. Just it removes apart some of the middlemen and some of the handling of that check, and it goes directly to your bank. So, with that said, Rick, thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me, Shane.
Absolutely. Driving safety, very, very important these days. What can you tell us about it?
Well, we have a law in the books. We actually have two laws now. One is distracted driving, where if you're distracted, putting makeup on, talking on a cell phone, other people in the car, you can be pulled over and cited for distracted driving. The big one that's on the books now is the cell phone and texting law, and you can be cited for it. I think after the third citation, you can lose your driver's license for up to 6 months. There's lots of data out there about crash-related incidents that deal with distracted driving. A lot of it deals with cell phone use or texting while you're driving, and anybody can say after the fact, I wish I hadn't done that. But it's really responsible not to do it while you're driving because your mind's not focused on the driving. We had talked about one of the gadgets that we have, and my wife picked this up for me at Walmart for about 35 bucks, and it connects to my cell phone as soon as I get in. It's a hands-free device. It's voice activated. I touch a button and I'll say call Pat Wall, for example, and it'll say calling Pat Wall mobile. It connects to her. I'm looking straight ahead. I'm driving. I'm paying attention. This is above me. I talk. As soon as I'm done, I reach up, hit the button, and it cancels the call. Same as when a call comes in, it'll say incoming call, and I just push the button and it accepts it.
Right.
It's battery operated. It's got a rechargeable battery in it. It fits on the visor right here, and it can be transferred from car to car. So you'll always have it when you go. And if you have to use a cell phone while you're driving, Nevada has the hands-free law.
Right.
We don't recommend that you use cell phones while you're driving, except in an emergency, correct, at all, because driving is a focused event where you should be paying attention to what's going on around you. 360 degrees. Is the person coming behind you paying attention, or are they distracted and they're going to crash into you? Do you see something going on to your left and you're paying attention to that instead of straight ahead or behind you? So,
and it's just a momentary distraction can cause an accident.
It can change lives in half of a second.
Yeah.
Just by that distraction. And we don't advocate talking on the phone while you're driving, but we do know that people are going to do it. So
sure.
Use one of the hands-free devices if you have to do it, and we absolutely do not recommend texting at all.
Yeah, no, texting is there's horrible and there's bad, and then there's horribad. Texting would be horribad.
Texting would be horribad.
Yeah. Now on this device here that you just showed us, $35 from Walmart.
Roughly
$35 from Walmart. How is the setup? Some of us can't program our VCR or our DVRs.
I am, and Pat will associate with this. My computer is a pad of paper and a pencil.
Nice. And a slide rule.
And a slide rule. And an abacus. This was something that I was able to program myself. comes with very easy instructions.
Okay.
And it can handle up to 2 phones, and it's very simple. It's got a pretty good range on it. So even if you're outside of the car, it can still be connected to it, but it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and turn it on.
See if we can hear it.
Phone 1 connected. Battery is high.
Phone 1 is connected.
And then if I wanted to make a call, I would push this button. It would go to my cell phone, and then I would say, call Pat Wall Mobile, and it would say, calling Pat Wall Mobile, and then it would dial her number.
It gives you an audible feedback.
Yes.
So almost like a personal OnStar system.
That's exactly what it's like. It's just like OnStar.
Yeah.
So. And relatively inexpensive, but a lot better than fumbling with your phone looking for numbers while you're driving down the road.
Absolutely. Yeah. As far as that, as far as the distractions concerned, cell phones, texting, what other kind of distractions do we have?
We have weather. Just yesterday, we had a huge hailstorm just outside of Pahrump and rain. We get a lot of wind, a lot of dust storms. Pahrump has about a 27% senior population. We also have about a 25% 18 and under. And with the school zones and summertime, kids are in a hurry to get to the park, get in a hurry to go to the pool, things like that. And they're not always paying attention. They have music blaring, they have other kids in the car with them. So there's a lot of things that are out there that distract us when we're driving. If you see an ambulance going by or a police car or a fire engine, especially if the lights and siren are going, then you're curious as to what's going on, and you tend to drift your eyes with that vehicle instead of paying attention to the roadway.
Also known as rubbernecking.
Yes.
Rubbernecking.
Yes.
Speaking about, well, the 2 different categories, you have the 18, let's say the 16 to 25, and then you have the seniors driving. Based on your experience, I know that the younger crowd generally gets hit with a higher insurance rates just automatically because they don't have the experience.
Correct.
But given the statistics, the high numbers of young people and the relatively high number of seniors here in town, based on your experience, who kind of gets in more trouble more often?
The juveniles do.
Yeah.
The inner group in between, from your 25 to about 55, are the one that gets a majority of them. But when you isolate it out between the juveniles and the seniors, it's the juveniles, because the seniors are not in a hurry. They've
Right.
been there, done that. They're not in a rush to go anywhere, and
Right.
and they've been through a couple of accidents in their lifetime, so they know
So they
there's
know
no hurry.
better. Yeah,
Exactly.
right, exactly. All right. How about just the brand new drivers? Better, more cautious, do you think? Just because they are new?
I think that the brand, and judging from the experience, we have 4 children, and my wife's done a great job raising them. I give her the credit. But based on our own experience, they're very, very cautious until they get with their friends. Then they have that peer pressure that they want to get there, they want to be faster, they want to get somewhere. So they tend to start throwing caution out the wind as they gain more motor skills.
But we can't do that because we never know what's going to happen. We have about 1 minute left here. An article I read the other day talked about where to place your hands on the steering wheel. Used to be 9 and 3, and in Europe, your European zones, maybe 12 o'clock if you want to look cool. But they said there's a little bit of a change now. It isn't necessarily what we learned as kids when we grew up.
We teach all of our officers, we teach them to have them at the, I guess it would be about the 8 o'clock, and down here about 4 o'clock. And then we teach shuffle steering, where you actually shuffle the wheel between your hands, so you're not bringing your hand up and over like this, getting it caught. Now our officers have to talk on the microphone, the radio, when they're doing it, so we don't want the radio getting caught up here and stretched out and broken, things like that. But it keeps their hands down below. They're not overturning, over-exaggerating, things like that.
Right.
So we teach our officers at about a 7.3, 7.84, right around there.
Rick, thank you very much for being on today. If somebody wants to contact you directly, can they?
They can. My direct line is 775-751-7015.
One more time.
775-751-7015.
Thank you so much, Rick, for being in
Thank you.
today.
All right.